Busking in London. Do you need a license? Will you find a spot? How much can you make? And where are the best places to go? This week, I headed to London to see if I could find the answers to these questions. As a busker from Brighton, I was intrigued to know how the sunny beachfront compared to the banks of the River Thames. I hopped on a train at Brighton Station, arriving at London Blackfriars, putting me bang in the centre of South Bank and Bankside. In my time as a busker, I've heard some conflicting things about London. There are reports of people making £100 to £150 in just 2 hours. But I have also heard it's an oversaturated scene that is all hype, no heart. Either way, I was excited to find out for myself.
Thank you.
So here we are in South Bank, just outside the Tate Modern. Now busking works really different to Brighton.
Let me explain some rules for busking along the Bankside South Bank area of London. Whilst I was researching this online, I found it very unclear, so I hope this can clear it up. Firstly, you do not need a license unless you are busking directly outside the South Bank Centre. This is one of the places in London that you do not need a license to busk or street perform. But this makes it a super busy place amongst buskers. Rule 2. There are designated busking spots. The main ones are outlined with markings on the ground. Some of the spots, however, they're not marked. According to the local buskers, the other known spots can be identified simply by seeing other buskers playing in them. Rule 3. In each spot, a busker is allowed to play for a maximum of 1 hour. This is such a busy area for busking that you cannot hog a pitch for the whole day. Rule 4. A busker's hour starts at 1/2 the hour. I'm not sure if this is the official rule, but it's the one that was going on the day I was there. Rule 5. Busking begins at 9:30 in the morning and needs to end by 8:30 in the evening. Again, I'm not sure if this is official, but this is what I was told by the regular buskers the day I was there. It seems pretty reasonable given shops and residents, etc. Number 6. If you wish to play in a busking spot, you have to join a queue system.
You turn up and in the order that turned up is how you play.
Your allocated hour is dependent on when you arrive to the spot. For example, if you get to the busking spot first, then you play first. Whoever arrives after the first person plays second. The order is then determined on the order of when people arrived. If you arrive third, then you'll play the 3rd hour. If you arrive 5th, you play the 5th hour. And this means when you arrive to a busking spot, you have to stay there with your equipment and let everybody know who's already there that you've arrived and you intend to play. That way you'll be allocated an hour, which is done amongst the buskers. There's no official person going around making sure that that's happening. You just do it amongst yourselves, and that way you're guaranteed to be able to play. When I arrived to the busking spot outside the Tate Modern, there was a queue of 3 buskers, one of which was already playing, which meant I had to wait for 3 hours.
That's when I saw you, yeah, standing on your mama's porch. I like to think I write these songs for a reason.
When I arrived at the busking spot outside the Tate Modern, I was greeted by a friendly guy called Sasha, who was playing some beautiful, soulful acoustic. He was really helpful and he explained the rules to me about how everything works. He apparently has been busking in London for many years, so I trusted him. He seemed pretty clued on. After Sasha played, an Australian guy who I didn't get the name of did a set where he danced. It was like a steps cover dance routine. Out of everybody I saw throughout the day, he earned by far the most. And I guess it's because he's unique. Busking is all about being unique. There are a lot of singer-songwriter acoustic buskers. There are not many dance routine people. So good on him. And it was pretty entertaining. After that, a singer-songwriter called Nick Lowe played, and then it was my turn. And I had a really good show. I played from 1:30 to 2:30 p.m, which I think is a pretty good slot. Middle of the day, sun shining, lots of people around. I had a really good time. After I finished, there was a singer called Lier, I hope I pronounced that right, and then her boyfriend, Atticus Blue, played. After my set at the Tate Modern, I decided to head to a spot that Sasha had told me he was going to afterwards. This spot was a lot less official looking, as in there were no markings on the ground, but I was assured that it was an official spot. It was a lot less busy in terms of buskers. I only had to wait for 1 hour before I played, and the set was good, but I earned considerably less. I played from 4:30 to 5:30. The spot itself was located under the underpass of London Bridge on Queen's Walk.
Tell me which way to the beach. Tell me which way to the beach.
So here are some noteworthy things that I learned from my busking experience in London. Number one, when you queue for a spot, you put your equipment down in that spot, behind where the busker is playing. This is sort of a code to say, I'm here and I'm waiting to play. The regular buskers were so used to this system that they'd even brought camping chairs and books to read whilst they waited. And they'd sometimes even go off and get coffee or food, leaving their equipment with whoever was waiting there in charge of kind of keeping it safe. I'm not gonna lie, this kind of freaked me out a little bit. Leaving my equipment isn't something I'm used to doing. And it's not like I've even got that expensive of equipment. But it did signal to me how trustworthy and kind of how much a unit the London busking scene is. Either way, it felt a bit weird. Number two, the wait is long.
Currently waiting for another spot. This waiting can get a bit long, if I'm honest. Trying to assess whether it's worth it or not.
Here in Brighton, no such system exists because there are no designated spots. In Brighton, there are definitely spots that are known for buskers, but if somebody is already busking in the spot you wanted to go to, you either just walk to another one, and there's almost always one that is free, or you just go and find another quiet place. All the public land in Brighton is okay for busking. You don't need a license here. Number three, the queue system is awesome for networking. Now, I made a video about networking, which you can watch here, but I think it's integral to anybody that's trying to make a career in music. The great thing about having to talk to people is that you end up having to talk to them. You end up networking, you get their Instagram, you find out what it is they do, and you never know what that can mean for the future. You also look out for each other, which creates this sort of feeling of like a team. It's like a team spirit. And I think as musicians, as buskers, this is something that's really necessary. Number four, you need to be ready before your allocated hour starts. This means getting your equipment all prepared, all ready to go at like 20 past the hour, so that when 1/2 rolls around, you can go straight in. All the regulars take this very seriously. You set up whilst the other person is playing and finishing their set, and then as soon as they finished, you start, just to squeeze the most out of that hour. It also happens at the end of your set. When you finish, you need to get out of there, get out of the way so they can start. Number five, the earnings. Let me tell you how much I earned. So I didn't do particularly badly, but I didn't do particularly well. In my 1 hour outside the Tate Modern, I made £33.40, which is definitely a nice amount to make in 1 hour. But considering I'd had to wait 3 hours and my train fare was £14.20, it made the net result a little less. And then in my hour under London Bridge, I only made £7.11. 7-11, which is pretty poor. Here in Brighton, I've made more than £7.11 on a dark, windy, cold January evening. So I actually spoke to the other buskers about money, and they told me this: the money is hit and miss. Occasionally you have days where donations are just flying in, and then sometimes it's just not so good. They said that this spot in front of the Tate Modern averages somewhere between £20 and £40 an hour, but on busy days you'll only really get to play twice, 3 times if you're lucky. They said that the well-known spots are usually a lot better, hence why I probably didn't make that much under London Bridge. The biggest earnings in London supposedly happen in Leicester Square and Covent Garden. So if you're looking for that, it's best to apply an audition for a busking license and head there. This was their advice. I can't confirm that it's true. Maybe one day I will get a license and do a video about it.
I'll tell you that you're close but no cigar, and I don't wanna hear it. You know it's mine.
So, here are my main takeaways from the London Busk. I had a lot of fun busking in London. It was nice to have a change of scenery. And my favourite part about the whole experience was the networking. Getting to meet a lovely bunch of London-based buskers, share some stories, share some ideas, and kind of have a day of hanging out with other musicians. It was cool. I just really enjoyed the fact that you have to network in order to play. I think a lot of musicians are standoffish. Sometimes we don't talk to each other, and I don't know why. Because at the end of the day, we're all musicians, and that usually means a bit of struggle, a bit of hardship, but a whole lot of love. I mean, here in Brighton, I know a lot of buskers, but that's mainly through the Brighton Beach Busking channel, and everyone is really friendly here. It's just nice to have a reason that you have to speak to each other. Although the money was good, I'm not sure if it's worth all of that waiting.
What you make in donations, I'm not sure if it's worth the waiting time.
Here in Brighton, I can leave my door and within 15 minutes be set up and playing on the beachfront. Now, I could probably earn a similar amount in around about 2 hours, and that's 2 hours of playing, but it is just 2 hours. If I want to earn £40, I can do that in a 3-hour window from leaving my house to arriving back here. Whereas in London, it seems like it's a whole day affair. I was given a few more words of golden advice, and that was to look out for when other countries have school holidays. Supposedly, when the USA have a school holiday, the place fills up with American tourists who love to give donations. Maybe it's because they're used to tipping. Overall, I had a good time, and would I return? Yeah, I'd fully return. I'm glad I know what to expect. Woo! I hope this video has been somewhat helpful. Maybe you're a musician or a busker thinking about heading to London, or maybe you just wanted to know. Either way, make sure you tip your buskers. They're working real hard, man. Real hard. Maybe click like on this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and if you're into this kind of thing, hit the notifications bell. It would really mean a lot. I make videos every Monday, they come out, so I'll see you next week.